The focus of Dragon Age 2 is a character known as the Champion of Kirkwall. His name is Hawk, or possibly her name is Hawk, based on the choices you make as you build the character up. The Champion is really a character who we soon learn is almost a legend in their own time. They've risen up, they've taken on a significant role, and one thing we learned very early in Dragon Age 2 is that through choices they've made and the effect they've had on the world's standing on the brink of war. And a big focus of the game is, as a player, I'm asking you to tell me what choices the Champion made and how the world got there.
And that's the player's experience. Is what we know about you is that you survived the burning of Lothering, that you are already this champion, you're already this mythical figure that people don't really know that much about. But that's what Dragon Age 2 is about, is uncovering or revealing or writing, in the case of an interactive game, is writing that story and determining what and who the champion actually is.
Dragon Age 2 takes place starting in Ferelden, the nation we're familiar with from Dragon Age Origins, but it quickly moves north into the Free Marches. That's the nation, kind of a rough and tumble city-state collective to the north across the Waking Sea. I think there's two primary things that define the Free Marches as opposed to Ferelden. First off, it's not being ravaged by a blight throughout the course of most of Dragon Age 2. As a player, for the most part, I'm hoping that you guys dealt the blight a crippling blow, killed the archdemon, and that's ended. So the Free Marches then has a very different feel to it. It's a more of a political place. It's a place where a lot of Ferelden refugees have had to flee to get away from the Darkspawn as they attack. It's also, I think, a land of opportunity, a spot where, you know, the terrain is different. There's a lot of political shifts in power, and because they're city-states, not some unified kind of government under the king, it's a place where someone like yourself can rise to power.
So what we're really trying to make sure that happens between the PC and the console in Dragon Age 2 is that where in Dragon Age Origins we took a game that was designed for the PC and spent a lot of time bringing it over to the consoles, and I think we did a pretty good job. What we're doing with Dragon Age 2 is that we're really trying to make sure that each experience is truly a unique experience. So on the consoles, the game is going to be extremely reactive. You'll keep that tactical choice, but the game is going to, when you push a button, something's going to happen. Something really awesome. On the PC, a little bit more tactical. Make sure that that you can examine the battlefield and make your choices. Keep that reactivity, but again, focused around around the controls that you have. You've got a keyboard and a mouse that lets you be a little bit more tactical in your choice making.
Well, the feel of the gameplay that we're going for Dragon Age 2 is, to my mind, really an evolution of the gameplay that we delivered in Origins, which still had an intense tactical mode, the ability to work as a team, and to eliminate enemies by kind of having this strategic general mindset. So I want you to think like a general in Dragon Age 2, but when you're fighting, I want you to fight like a Spartan. I want you to be up in enemies' faces, I want you to be taking heads off, and I want everything to feel faster. But more importantly, responsive. If I tell someone to go kill, I want them up there and fighting immediately. And that's where I think we've made our most improvements, is the overall degree to which everyone in your party can just get to the fighting and start dishing out that damage as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so Dragon Age 2 is going to keep the three classes we had in Dragon Age Origins, the Mage, the Rogue, and the Warrior. But what we're really trying to make sure is that each class has a distinct tactical role. Whereas in Origins, maybe the Warrior and the Rogue overlapped a little bit too much in terms of their role and their abilities. What we want to make sure is that when you're playing as a warrior, you're this unstoppable tank, this killing machine. When you're a rogue, you're fast, you're a ninja, you're quick, you're lithe. And when you're a mage, you're essentially field artillery, sitting back and just blowing away the enemy with your spells.
Well, we're doing something very different with the storytelling this time. So whereas a linear narrative like Origins certainly had a lot of choice, you could choose how you were going to gather your allies, what army you were going to build, this time we're using a technique called a frame narrative, in which characters are discussing the legend that you've already built up around yourself in the past tense. And as you play through the game, those narrators that live kind of outside of the story, in the frame as we call it, are reacting to the choices you're making and how you've played through the game. This is, I think, the most reactive game we've ever done, because as we move forward through time, as the narrators are offering these comments, instead of waiting 80 hours for an epilogue that tells me about who got married and who did what, I get to see those interactions like within hours. I make choices, I get rewarded for them.
There is a story being told within a story. So a popular thing that most people have heard of is something like The Usual Suspects, where Usual Suspects is really actually about Verbal Kent telling the story of this heist that's gone terribly wrong. And that's what the way the storytelling is actually going to happen in Dragon Age 2. So what that actually allows us to do is really focus on the key moments that are occurring in Dragon Age 2. We can skip the shoe leather, we can skip the interstitial between the key action moments, the key decision, the key universe-shaping moments. Whereas in Dragon Age Origins, the game takes place over somewhere between 12 and 24 months. This is an entire decade's worth of storytelling.
Well, in terms of how big the Dragon Age universe is, I think we've just scratched the surface. We've looked at Ferelden in detail, I think, and really visited kind of its politics and its kind of, I guess, the effects that it has on the world. But, we haven't been to Orlais, we haven't been to the Free Marches, we haven't been to Navarra, we haven't been to Ravain. I mean, we have an entire world. Where are the Canary from? What's Parvalin like? So, honestly, the way I'm looking at the evolution of the Dragon Age franchise is that it's like this world that with each game, each novel, each ancillary product, we're kind of opening a window for you to look at it from a new perspective, a new way to look at Dragon Age. And this one is our chance to look at the Free Marches and really to dive into a moment of history that's very significant. Because through the course of Dragon Age 2, whereas Origins covered, say, about a year, maybe two in the campaign against the Blight and your origin, this time we're going to cover an entire decade. What happens during that period of time? I think for fans of Dragon Age Origins, the coolest, there's going to be two really, really cool parts. One, feeling like the world that you made, that you helped shape through the course of really your adventures, is going to be coming forward and really interacting with that. However, if you didn't play it, that's okay. We have a canon. We know exactly how the world shapes up for new players, so that's really welcoming. But for the fans, for the really hardcore guys, I think it's going to be the chance to see the combat and the interaction and that reactivity that Origins did really well amped up to the next level and taken to the point where we've built upon the base systems and refined them, where, again, I'm fighting faster, the world's responding quicker, I'm seeing bigger responses to the things that I've chosen to do. So I think it's the best part of Origins made even better.